the top part fell off. I fix it still. It's at my home in my garage. Like it fell off and kind of like highway, and I had to go back and find it. And hey, folks, it is March the 2nd, and today we're talking about the third part of chapter 34. And so today we're going to discuss the reign of the Emperor Nero, the year of the four emperors, and what's going to happen a little bit after that. And we have the following terms up on the board. We have Nero's early reign, Rome burns, Christians, Nero's end, Alba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, and Judea. So make sure once again you read that stuff so you know what's going on. We're going to have the students in the classroom help me out with filling in the board. Oh, no, not restart.
There is no Australia and Antarctica named New Holland.
Interesting. Hey, let's go ahead and start, kids. So, as you'll recall, yesterday we had the Emperor Claudius. He was known as a pretty decent guy, but he was a little too trusting. And Agrippina was kind of like, she was almost like a Disney villain, right? She was very self-centered. She just never she was always conniving and plotting. And because of her plotting and assassination of her husband, Claudius, Nero became emperor. But as your book said, she grew tired of Nero. And so she started plotting maybe she could get one of her other sons in his place. Nero, he did. But Nero always had this weird kind of complex to where he was always with his mother and he really depended on her, but he hated her at the same time. So they had a very unhealthy relationship, right?
That's a big issue.
Yeah, so
It's definitely not because of
whatever it was, they had, they needed some counseling. But during Nero's reign, we're going to have a massive fire that's going to burn about half of Rome down. And this fire, the thing is like a lot of Roman buildings during this time period were being built haphazard. They were just kind of stacked one on top of the other as people built as they could. And so that led to a big problem with fires. Fires are always a major problem in cities and even in ancient times.
Aren't they made out of stone?
Well, the ones that we see in these nice paintings, the homes of the rich, but the homes of like the poor and stuff are just like state houses.
You can't actually make a house completely out of stone. At some point, you have to put something like wood
I don't know. Because I know the Romans were very good at a lot of their buildings, their cement they made, they didn't reinforce with metal. So I don't know if they would use wood as kind of like maybe temporarily. I don't know. But in any case, now there were fire departments in Rome. In fact, the first fire department was during, we have a famous court case from Cicero where he's putting on trial a guy who made his own fire department. But when he made it to where, hey, I have this group of men and we have water buckets. We'll put out a house fire, but you got to pay us. And so there weren't enough fires, so they go around and start fires, and they wake you up in the middle of the night, like, hey, your roof's on fire. If you pay us, we'll put it out. And so eventually the guy made it to court, and so.
That is crazy.
It's crazy. That's extortion. Yeah. So, but the thing is, it goes to show they didn't have like really good abilities to put out fires. And so when this thing went out of control, it really went out of control. Yeah, bucket brigade can only do so much. I don't know. This is kind of out of order. All right, so so here you see chariot racing. One thing about Nero is that Nero loved playing music, but he also loved horse racing and he loved performing other sports, but he wasn't very good at them. And so in Rome, he had a habit of entering the horse chariot races and they always deemed him the victor. And so it was probably a pretty boring thing to watch back then. It was also the same for whenever they would have musical contests. He was always proclaimed the victor. And like I told you, he's eventually going to go to Greece. And when he goes to Greece to visit the Olympic Games, he makes it down there, and he enters every contest that he's interested in: poetry, acting, music. He was known for his lyre, and they always gave him the Olympic crown. So he was very happy because he won all things. He was the best at everything because people were so scared of him. But yeah, Roman emperors, as we saw, even before the time of Caesar, great Roman men were deified. And so the state would make idols for them and sometimes temples. And it was kind of cultural, kind of religious, to where they would burn incense or offer up things like grain and small sacrifices to these newly deified men. So by this time, you would have Caesar Augustus, you'd have Julius Caesar, you would have, of course, even back to some of their ancient kings. And it was seen as like an act of patriotism, but also a bit of superstition, because they believed that if you did not properly do the rituals for the gods, bad things would happen, hence the fire. During this time period, there's a big growth of Christianity within Rome. A lot of it had to do with Christianity was very revolutionary for Roman people. Whereas if you remember from our 12 tables of Rome, when we studied Roman law, a lot of people didn't have a place in Roman society that was worth much. For example, if you're a woman, you were kind of considered the property of your family. If you were like a poor person, you didn't really have much worth. Christianity offered a way out of that, and it offered a sense of belonging. And so a lot of Christians, especially poor Christians and women, really found Christianity to be very, very good. So it's going to take on, and because of that, because Christianity is monotheistic, you're not allowed to worship other gods. You're not allowed to do things like burn incense for Caesar. And so a lot of Christians would not do this. And so Nero, looking for a scapegoat, was like, well, the sky people are mad at us because Christians did not burn incense and grain and offer sacrifices and stuff like that. So he's going to start a wave of Christian persecution. And you see in this painting, these are his famous Christian torches he would have in his garden. He would often crucify and burn Christians and would watch while him and his friends would dine. Nero was very well known for his cruelty and his wild parties and things like that. He was he was like just insane, just insane.
Yeah, two things you're known for: immense cruelty and some wild parties.
They go hand. They seem to go hand in hand. They really do. They seem to go hand in hand. Many Christians, of course, were thrown into to the gladiators. So the Colosseum wasn't around at this time. They had plenty of what you might call smaller arenas, and so women, children, the elderly, all fed to lions and animals, killed by gladiators, burnt in public, crucified in public, and the Romans eventually started getting tired of this because they noticed that the Christians not only did they not fight back, but they wouldn't run away, and a lot of them wouldn't even show fear. And so this really bothered a lot of Roman people. They were like, what's wrong with these people? Why aren't they doing what we want them to? And so it's going to be one of those things, however, that's going to have a very lasting effect on the Roman psyche. And it's going to have a reverse of what the intended goal. It's actually going to help provoke more and more people to become Christians. So like I said earlier, Nero is going to get very paranoid about his mother. And so one day while they're sailing down a river, he's going to have her boat sabotaged and it's going to sink. He's so interested in watching it happen that he has a chariot bring him up to go watch it. He sees, however, that though his little brother drowned, his mother washed up ashore and was trying to climb up on the bank. So he takes it upon himself to go up the shore and push her head under the water until she's dead. So very cruel Nero, not a nice guy.
It's a very cool boat.
It's a bit extravagant. It doesn't look seaworthy. So
That's made out of solid grass.
It looks like it's a bed.
yeah, maybe that's what the artist used, like it even has like this little burning urn, and I don't know. It's just it's extremely gilded.
It's a bit impractical.
Probably not. So yeah, Nero was he was often criticized for ignoring the day-to-day affairs of the Roman government and spent almost his entire time feasting and partying and things like that. So it was very big time Roman decadence, and it just made the Roman people extremely resentful. And his murders, his craziness is going to provoke some of the armies to rebel and the Senate to condemn him. He's not going to be very happy. So eventually he's going to flee. Oh wait, I almost forgot. This is
The afterlife.
yeah. This is going to be archaeological remains of the Golden House, super giant gilded palace of Nero, at least what's left of it.
How long did that take to make?
I think it depends on the manpower. I really don't know. And it might have took old buildings and like kind of built into them to connect them or something. But yeah, he's going to have Seneca murder his old teacher, the famous Roman author. Nero eventually, when he finds out that soldiers are out to get him, he's been condemned by the Roman people. He's going to take his lover, I guess you'd say, and a couple of his trusted slaves and go on the run. Eventually, though, when they find him, he's going to take his own life.
The one who registers like.
Who did he get married to then?
He marries a castrated boy slave of his that he paraded around as his wife.
How old was he? Hopefully.
Young. That's all I remember. I don't remember. It's pretty gross. So yeah, Nero didn't really have any redeeming qualities. It was kind of like every aspect of his life was messed up.
He also had a pretty messed up upbringing. So.
Yeah.
But that's not an excuse for what he did. He's a terrible person.
So
He had a pretty
It's
house.
just
had a pretty house. Yes, he had a pretty house
it's just a weird
where
thing.
people were tortured.
That too.
So, all right. So your book mentioned the Roman historian Josephus. Josephus was a Jewish Roman, and there's actually a lot of things to learn from him. He is the first historian to actually write about Jesus and the early Christian movement. He also writes about the day-to-day lives of early Romans, but he also writes about what it was like, the destruction of the Jewish temple and what we call the period of the Zealots. So there were like if you ever read the New Testament, there was hints of the Zealots in there, and those were essentially Jewish people who were looking for a Messiah that would overthrow the Roman government there, and they could reestablish a kingdom. Well, a guy's going to come up and claim to be that Messiah after Jesus, and is going to start a military revolt inside of Judea.
Everyone was like, "You can't be the Messiah." He said that he'd make a kingdom, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Can you use anything on earth?" And he's like, "No, it's not gonna be on earth. It's gonna be after you die." And they're like,
Well,
"No, I
needless
don't want
to
to wait
say,
that long."
this new guy is going to lead to a revolt that's going to have Jerusalem completely destroyed. The Romans, led by Titus, are going to level the city. They're going to take everything out of the temple. This is the newly built temple, too. It wasn't even finished that long ago by Herod. And so they're going to take everything inside of it. A lot of the Jewish people are going to choose to fight to the death, which the Romans obliged to.
Like, okie dokie.
Well, you see, we have more weapons than you, so good luck.
A lot of the Jewish rebels are going to make a last stand at a fortress called Masada, which is on top of this small mountain here. The Romans are going to have a very long siege against it, where they're going to make an earthwork ramp in order to finally overcome it. And then the surviving Jews in Masada, because they're going to make a pact to where the last surviving men are actually going to slay everyone within inside of the fortress so that they won't be taken prisoner. And then at last, the last ones will take their own lives. So there will be no survivors. Whenever the Romans finally enter inside the fortress, they're going to be amazed and horrified by what they find. So this is going to be the last stand of the Jewish people. The ones who are left over, for the most part, are going to flee throughout the world, known as the diaspora. Many of them are going to go to Western Europe, but a lot more of them are actually going to end up in Eastern Europe. Some are going to stick around, but there's going to be very small pockets.
I just want to say, building an airport like that seems like something that was meant to be great.
Well, that's some archaeologists think that that's how the pyramids were kind of built. They would make earthwork ramps like that to bring up stones. So, yeah, Alexander actually did that method a couple of times. Of course, during the Emperor Vespasian, you're going to build the Colosseum, which we all know of today. You still go see it if you can get to Italy. I don't know. Because of COVID restrictions, it's kind of hard to go to certain countries right now.
You can go there, but just keep you quarantined in a hotel for a while.
Like 2 weeks? Who's got more than 2 weeks to go wait in a hotel? So we'll talk about the Colosseum more later, so we don't run out of time. Let's go ahead and get our things up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first ones, and I'm going to turn y'all loose on the others. So first off, we had Nero's early reign. So seems stable at first.
Until he murdered his family.
Yeah. Educated by Seneca. He's well known for a lot of his wisdom and stuff like that.
But there's something very, very much wrong with it.
Yeah. Overbearing mother. So think about that. It's not a good idea for you to live with your parents forever. It might start wearing down on your brain.
Yeah, and then you start, threatening to murder entire civilization.
Yeah, please don't do that. All right, so Rome burns.
Yeah.
Let's see. At least half of Rome burnt by fire.
At least.
People thought Nero didn't care.
How do you spell that? Is it just Seneca?
Yes, Seneca. He blamed Christians. Spaghetti. Yeah, so this is going to be the first wave of many, many Roman persecutions of Christianity. Nero is going to be very famous for his persecution of Christians, but he's not going to have the biggest one. We're going to have that come up later on. But a lot of the emperors did have their periods of persecution, even some of the ones that we consider good, the good emperors. So religious persecution, kind of a big Roman imperial pastime. Now let's go ahead and let's get our next one. We have Christians. So who had that one?
Where's the paper? Brian.
Brian.
Yeah, Ryan. Reigns.
Good. Okay. So yeah, Christians were seen as traitors to Rome. They were punished by crucifixion, being lit as human torches, sent to fight in the arena, and were seen as reason for bad things happening. Yeah, poor guys. All right. Hey, Nero's end. What happened to I wouldn't call him the hero, but like the center of our little story. There you go.
He died.
Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be speed running life.
Everyone dies. Step one.
Everything was fossil. Step one, God.
Speed of room life says,
Okay, I'm infant, I'm gonna go into the sink and drink food.
No, it's sudden death syndrome. So the
So you
baby
go
dies
record
of the war.
12 seconds.
to be born under the same, how do they do that in 12 seconds?
All right, so let's see. Nero's end. Nero grew worse and worse. Some guards refused to protect him. The Senate decreed that he should be scourged to death. Yeah, that would stink. When he heard this, he took his life. Then died. Yep. All right, so what about these three fellers? What about them?
He's alive then, hey,
Yeah, well, they tried to pull some Julius Caesar stuff, but they weren't Julius Caesar.
And they'll die shortly after.
Yes. They all died, yeah.
That's the same thing that we saw in other generals too. You know, they figured I have an army, maybe I can be in charge.
I wish Gallo was in charge of the whole name.
Slow.
All right, so Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Roman generals proclaimed emperor by their respective armies, then died. Yeah, so they fought it out, but hey, if you don't win, things don't turn out well. Hey, who has Vespasian? And, oh, he bailed out. I see.
Jacob left.
Yeah. Huh. Winky dink. Let's see, what was the first one?
I think he has better grades than me, so
Not really.
he's trying.
Hey, welcome. We were just talking about you.
How did they finish so fast? Okay. Oh my god,
And where's the
he's
number
doing it again. Not again. He's writing like that. Kirsten, can I write? Please? No one can read it. Full, I
I can
think.
read it.
That's because you got good eyesight.
Kristen.
Leave room for others.
It does, doesn't it?
Can you guys read that?
Yes.
Really?
What does it say?
Five.
Oh, let me make it bigger.
No.
I feel like.
Please. Please.
Good friends.
No.
He's writing something down, like,
How do you?
You're right, like a 5-year-old who just picks up a marker. Yeah, wait, no, that would be even 5-year-old marker.
That's
mint, kill, for, Rome, fought.
Oh,
Do you want me to translate it?
Check his move. Check his move.
move yourself in the area.
War and Jonas on upgoing in game. Done.
Thanks for the room.
Got it.
Long story short is that he was a general. Everyone wanted him to be emperor because he was a good general. He's old. He wanted to do it, but someone else was in his way, so people killed the other person that was in the way. So he ended up becoming emperor. And then later on, he took his own life because that.
Yeah, it kept
I don't know
happening.
what to say.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence in Rome, or in
Yeah, those
This
pesky
time,
Romans.
no
You got to
space
keep them
to
away
do
from
that.
sharp things. All right. Roman general, yeah,
Right.
meant well for Rome. Fought war in Judea and an uprising in Gaul. Died, made Titus his good emperor. Okay. Yeah.
They wanted to be emperor, so they made him emperor.
All right. Work with what you got.
And then
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
remember to say that he was old.
It does not matter.
There's no room for the other people to write.
It does not matter. Vespasian did not give the Judeans room to write anyway.
I give you permission to just delete it. Yeah.
No, don't read it. But yeah, keep in mind that these are the notes of the class, right? These are what I post up on the internets.
What?
They will be immortal.
I wonder.
Do what? What are you wrong?
Well, can you read it though?
Yes.
No.
Can you read? You can't read 5.
Five.
No.
I mean, like,
See that thing is so big.
yeah,
The marker kind of failed.
I can't read it, Tristan. Can you make it a bit louder? I'm sorry.
I don't know. It looks a lot like a G to me. Also, how do you know that you should be? If you
He said
can't
it
tell?
looks like it.
Well, I mean, if it looks like a G, it probably is a G.
The left side an L. She has to be going lower.
Yeah, Ryan's over here making fun of me.
Which one did you write, Thomas?
The one in black.
That looks fun. I can't read that.
From Germany.
Interesting.
Roman what? No, I can't. I can do that.
Well, you read the first word.
Ken skills? I don't know what that says.
Do you need to go see an eye doctor?
Sorry, I can't read that. I can only read mine. And Nero. And Robert.
No, it's old
And Nero is
school.
really right. And you did.
Okay, you can
Nero grew worse and worse. Some guards refused to protect him. The Senate declared that he could be scourged to death. When he heard this, he took his own life and died.
He took his own life.
I think you're the one who's good, and I don't
that
think
doesn't say
Yeah, it does. Took his own life. This is the
Didn't know that.
So, question. Are you going to I don't even know.
Hey, good. All right, so Judea. So yeah, its destruction was led by Titus to put down a revolt. All buildings were destroyed by the Romans. 3 towers remained, showed their strength. 1 million Jews died, and most of the others had to flee. So yeah, all right, folks. So we're gonna go over the last part tomorrow, and then we'll be done with the chapter, and I think we'll be done with the lectures before spring break. I think we won't pick up another lecture after tomorrow until after spring break. In any case, hey, see you later, kids. Yeah, you literally got it, so.